What if I told you that cremation might actually be the biblical way to handle the dead? With over 70% of people now choosing cremation over burial. Hi everyone, welcome to the History Plus. Today, we're diving into a topic that's both controversial and enlightening. With cremation rates skyrocketing and expected to reach 70% in the next decade, many Christians are left wondering, is cremation an acceptable practice according to the Bible? But before moving forward, let's understand what exactly is cremation. What is cremation? So, cremation is a process that uses intense heat to reduce a body to its basic elements, mainly ashes. Now, you might be wondering how this process aligns with biblical teachings. So folks, in Genesis 3 verse 19, the Bible says, "For you were made from dust, and to dust you will return." This verse is often cited to explain the natural cycle of life and death. Cremation can be seen as an acceleration of this return to dust. By choosing cremation, we are essentially speeding up the process that would naturally occur over time if the body were buried. Throughout the Bible, fire is used as a symbol of purification and transformation. For instance, in Malachi 3 verses 2-3, it describes God as a refiner's fire, purifying and cleansing. While this context is spiritual, it can be interpreted to mean that fire, including the fire used in cremation, is a tool for transformation. Historically, burial has been the predominant practice among Jews and Christians, as seen with notable figures like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. However, there are instances in the Bible where bodies were burned. For example, in 1 Samuel 31 verses 12-13, the bodies of Saul and his sons were burned after their death in battle. This wasn't a prescribed practice but a situational necessity. These instances show that while burial was common, burning bodies was not entirely unheard of. Beyond the biblical context, let's look at why so many people are choosing cremation today and its impact on our environment and society. Traditional burials require a lot of resources and space. Cemeteries take up large areas of land, and the process of preparing a body for burial involves chemicals like formaldehyde used in embalming. These chemicals can seep into the ground and potentially harm the environment. Additionally, wooden coffins and metal caskets consume natural resources. In contrast, cremation, while it does use energy and emit carbon dioxide, is considered more environmentally friendly because it uses less space and doesn't involve harmful chemicals. Social preferences are shifting for several reasons. One major factor is cost. Cremation is generally less expensive than a traditional burial, which can include costs for a casket, burial plot, and headstone. Moreover, with people moving more frequently and living in urban areas with limited space, cremation offers a more practical solution. It allows families to keep the ashes of their loved ones in an urn, scatter them in a meaningful location, or even incorporate them into memorial jewelry. Cremation also provides flexibility. Families can choose to have a memorial service at a convenient time without the immediate pressure of burial. This can be especially helpful for relatives who live far away and need time to travel. Furthermore, ashes can be divided among family members, allowing each person to keep a part of their loved one close. To put it simply, think of traditional burial as owning a large house in the countryside. It takes up space and requires a lot of upkeep. Cremation, on the other hand, is like living in a modern, compact apartment in the city. It's efficient, practical, and easier to manage. What does the Bible say about cremation? However, many people wonder if cremation is acceptable according to the Bible. But guys, hold for a second. What is this? Most of you only watched the video but didn't subscribe to the channel. Please do it, my friend, now. The Bible has numerous references to traditional burial. In fact, most of the notable figures in the Bible, like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and even Jesus, were buried. Burial was the common practice in ancient Israel and early Christian communities. This is why many people today assume that burial is the biblical way to handle the dead. However, it's crucial to note that the Bible does not explicitly prohibit cremation. There are over 200 references to death and burial in the Old Testament, but none of these passages mandate burial as the only acceptable method for dealing with a dead body. This means that while burial was customary, it wasn't necessarily commanded by God as the only option. Let's look at some specific instances in the Bible where bodies were burned. These examples can help us understand the broader context and how burning bodies was perceived. One of the most notable instances is found in 1 Samuel 31, verses 12 to 13. After King Saul and his sons were killed in battle, their bodies were retrieved by the valiant men of Jabesh-Gilead. The Bible says, "All their valiant men marched through the night to Beth-shan. They took down the bodies of Saul and his sons from the wall of Beth-shan and went to Jabesh, where they burned them." This action was taken to prevent further desecration of their bodies by the Philistines, showing a practical response to a difficult situation. Another example is in 2 Kings 23 verses 16 to 20, where King Josiah desecrated pagan altars by burning human bones on them. This was part of his religious reforms to purify worship in Judah. Although this instance involved burning bodies, it wasn't a typical cremation but a symbolic act to show disdain for idolatry. These instances demonstrate that while burning bodies wasn't the norm, it did occur under certain circumstances. The key takeaway is that the Bible doesn't present these actions as sinful or wrong, but rather as responses to specific situations. So, how should we interpret these instances and the lack of explicit commands about cremation in the Bible? Let's explore this further. First, it's important to understand that burial practices were heavily influenced by cultural norms of the time. Ancient Israelites and early Christians followed burial customs that were prevalent in their societies. Just because a practice was common doesn't mean it was a divine mandate. The Bible's silence on cremation leaves room for interpretation and flexibility. Since there's no direct prohibition against cremation, many theologians and scholars argue that it's a matter of personal choice rather than a religious obligation. This means that Christians can consider cremation without feeling that they are violating biblical principles. What the Bible does emphasize is the respect for the body. 1 Corinthians 6 verses 19 to 20 says, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore honor God with your bodies." This verse highlights the importance of treating our bodies with dignity and respect, whether through burial or cremation. Now, let's delve into the spiritual implications of cremation. How does this practice align with biblical teachings on life, death, and resurrection? Fire is a powerful symbol in the Bible. It's used to represent God's presence, purification, and judgment. For example, in Malachi 3 verses 2 to 3, God is described as a refiner's fire, purifying and cleansing. While this primarily refers to spiritual purification, it shows that fire is not inherently negative in a biblical context. One of the main concerns Christians have about cremation is its impact on the resurrection. The Bible assures us that God has the power to resurrect our bodies, regardless of their state. In 1 Corinthians 15 verses 42 to 44, Paul writes, "So will it be with the resurrection of the dead. The body that is sown is perishable, it is raised imperishable. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body." This passage reassures us that God's power is not limited by the physical condition of our bodies. Think about it this way. God created humanity from dust in the first place. If He could do that, He certainly has the power to resurrect us from ashes. Whether a body is buried, cremated, or otherwise destroyed, God's sovereignty ensures that our resurrection is secure. This means that the choice between burial and cremation is ultimately about personal preference and practical considerations, not about compromising our faith in the resurrection. In summary, while the Bible often references traditional burial, it doesn't prohibit cremation. Instances of burning bodies show that this practice was sometimes used in specific situations. The lack of explicit biblical commands against cremation, combined with respect for the body and the assurance of resurrection, means that Christians can consider cremation as a valid option. Now, let's talk about God's incredible power to recreate our bodies, regardless of their state. Remember, God created humanity from dust in the first place. Genesis 2 verse 7 says, "Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being." If God could create the first humans from dust, he certainly has the power to resurrect our bodies from ashes. This demonstrates God's limitless power and sovereignty over life and death. Consider the various ways in which bodies can be destroyed. They can be buried, cremated, lost at sea, or even consumed by animals. Regardless of the method of body disposal, God is not limited by physical conditions. He is omnipotent, meaning he has unlimited power to accomplish his purposes. When it comes to the resurrection, God can use ashes, bones, or even molecules to recreate our bodies. The Bible is full of examples of God's miraculous power over life and death. For instance, in Ezekiel 37, the prophet Ezekiel is shown a vision of a valley of dry bones. God asks Ezekiel if these bones can live, and then proceeds to bring them to life, covering them with flesh and breathing life into them. This vision illustrates God's power to restore and resurrect, no matter the state of the physical remains. To further understand this topic, let's look at the scientific perspective on decomposition and cremation. Whether a body is buried or cremated, it will eventually decompose and return to the earth. In traditional burial, the decomposition process is slower. The soft tissues break down over months to years, and the skeleton can take decades or even centuries to fully decompose, depending on environmental conditions. Cremation, on the other hand, accelerates this process. By exposing the body to high temperatures, cremation rapidly reduces the body to ashes, which are the basic elements left after combustion. The result is essentially the same as natural decomposition. The body returns to its basic components, just in a much shorter time frame. Scientific studies show that decomposition is influenced by various factors, including temperature, humidity, and the presence of microorganisms. These factors determine how quickly or slowly a body decomposes. In both burial and cremation, the end result is the same. Deciding between cremation and traditional burial is a deeply personal choice, influenced by various factors. But wait a minute, what Christians should consider when making this decision? But before moving forward, I just want to say thank you to you guys for watching the video till yet. I hope you have already subscribed to the channel, but don't miss to click the bell icon too, or else you will miss the video. Now, first, let's talk about personal preferences and family considerations. It's essential to reflect on your own wishes. What kind of final resting place do you envision for yourself? Do you prefer the idea of a traditional grave in a cemetery? Or would you rather have your ashes kept in an urn or scattered in a meaningful location? Consider how your decision will impact your family. Traditional burials often provide a physical grave site where loved ones can visit, lay flowers, and find solace. This can be a source of comfort and a place for family members to feel connected to you. On the other hand, cremation offers flexibility. Your ashes can be kept in an urn, divided among family members, or even turned into memorial jewelry, allowing each person to hold a part of you close. It's crucial to have open and honest conversations with your family about your wishes. Discuss the reasons behind your preference for either cremation or burial and listen to their thoughts and feelings. This dialogue can help ensure that your final arrangements honor your wishes while also providing comfort to your loved ones. Next, let's consider the practicality and logistics of a memorial service. Cost is another practical factor. Traditional burials can be expensive, involving costs for the casket, burial plot, headstone, and embalming. Cremation is generally less costly, making it an attractive option for families who may be facing financial constraints. It's important to weigh the costs against your budget and consider what is most financially feasible for your situation. Additionally, ashes can be scattered in a location that holds special significance, such as a favorite park, garden, or even at sea. This can provide a personalized and meaningful way to honor the deceased's memory. Religious and denominational views are crucial considerations for many Christians. Christian denominations have different perspectives on cremation. Historically, the Catholic Church prohibited cremation due to concerns about the resurrection of the body. However, in 1963, the Church lifted this ban, provided that cremation is not chosen for reasons contrary to Christian teachings. The Church still prefers burial, but it allows cremation as long as the ashes are treated with respect and kept in a sacred place, not scattered or kept at home. Many Protestant denominations are more accepting of cremation. They often emphasize that the method of body disposal is less important than the belief in the resurrection and the respect shown to the deceased. For example, the Anglican Church and many evangelical churches permit cremation, viewing it as a matter of personal choice. As we've discussed, the Bible does not explicitly prohibit cremation. It's helpful to consult with your pastor or spiritual advisor to understand your denomination's stance and receive guidance tailored to your beliefs. For those concerned about the environment, another option is a green burial. This method avoids embalming and uses biodegradable materials for the casket or shroud. The body is buried in a natural setting, such as a forest or meadow, allowing it to decompose naturally and return to the earth. Green burials can be a meaningful way to honor the deceased while minimizing environmental impact. In the last, deciding between cremation and traditional burial involves considering multiple factors, including personal preferences, family needs, practicality, religious views, and environmental impact. Thank you for joining us as we explored the important topic of cremation and traditional burial from a Christian perspective. We hope this video has provided you with valuable insights to help you make an informed decision that aligns with your faith and personal values. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Your support helps us create more content that matters to you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We have many more insightful videos planned that you won't want to miss. But wait, this is not the end. To dive deeper into related topics, click on the video on your left, or if you're ready to explore another intriguing subject, click on the video on your right. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you with wisdom and peace in your decisions.